I work at a funeral home in a small town on the Washington coast called Gravesend, and I can't keep it to myself anymore. This place is different. Not in the way people usually mean when they say haunted or creepy, but in a quieter, stranger way that settles under your skin if you spend too much time here. Things happen at this funeral home that don't make sense. It was small things at first, like a misplaced file, an odd sound in the preparation room, or flowers arranged differently than I remembered. Then there's the bigger things. That made me question whether the dead are actually staying where we put them. I've started writing these stories down. Maybe it's to keep track before I forget. Or maybe it's to prove that I'm not imagining it all. If you haven't heard of Gravesend, that's normal. Most people haven't. The town sits on a thin stretch of land between the ocean and the ocean cliffside where the highway eventually runs out and turns to gravel. If you keep driving past that point long enough, the road narrows, the fog gets thicker, and eventually you are here whether you meant to be or not. The funeral home sits at the very edge of town, which is fitting, I guess. Most people only end up there once. People imagine funeral homes are unsettling places, but the truth is they're usually very calm. The dead don't cause problems. The living do that well enough on their own. I started working here just 3 years ago after moving back to my hometown, and sometimes I think about my old roommate, Elsie, back in my college dorm building, daring me to see what was behind locked doors and forgotten rooms. I laugh now, because the only doors I open are to preparation rooms and mausoleum crypts, and the things I find are far stranger than anything she could have imagined. My boss, Martin, has owned the place for decades and mostly lets me handle the day-to-day stuff like the paperwork, the preparation room, and whatever other odd jobs need doing when families aren't around. It's quiet, predictable work, save for the few odd things here and there. The fog rolled in early that afternoon, the kind that drifts all the way up the cliffside from the water and settles over the town until the streets look like they're fading into nothing about 50 yards ahead of you. By sunset, the whole place felt muted and gray, like the world had been wrapped in cotton. The body
Subscribe and check my page for part 2.